Frontline Briefing uncovering modern warfare's hidden battles. November 14th, 2024. Novorossiysk port, Russia's largest naval base outside Sevastopol. Home to the shadow fleet that keeps Russian oil flowing despite sanctions. Tonight, everything changes. 4 Neptune missiles are already flying toward it. This isn't just any port, it's bigger than St. Petersburg, more vital than Murmansk, handles approximately 40% of Russia's oil exports through shadow tankers, worth an estimated $8 billion monthly to Russia's war machine. Russia considers it heavily defended. 12 S-400 launchers form a defensive umbrella. Pantsir systems guard multiple approaches. Radar coverage extends 400 kilometers nominally. Moscow considers this among its most protected strategic locations. But Ukraine identified a critical weakness.
Because
the Earth curves, radar detection is severely limited by the horizon. Missiles flying just meters above the water become extremely difficult to detect. Basic physics challenges even advanced defenses. This 400's theoretical range becomes approximately 40 kilometers against sea-skimming targets. 600 kilometers away, in Odessa, the launch sequence begins. A truck hidden among pine trees. 4 launch tubes are rising vertically, each containing a Neptune missile with 150-kilogram warhead. Modified for extended range operations. Target package already loaded. The plan appears carefully orchestrated. First, degrade S-400 coverage. Then target the oil infrastructure. Finally, disrupt shadow fleet operations. 3 objectives, 4 missiles, 1 coordinated strike against Russia's economic infrastructure. But there's additional complexity. Hundreds of cheaper drones launch simultaneously, creating sensor confusion, overwhelming defensive systems, forcing defenders to engage multiple threats while Neptune's approach remains undetected. Classic misdirection tactics at scale. Countdown begins. First come the decoys. Hundreds of FPV drones flood Russian radar screens. Different altitudes, various speeds, multiple directions, creating electronic chaos. Each reportedly costs $50. Together, they'll trigger massive defensive expenditure. Russian operators see an overwhelming attack. Screens show hundreds of contacts. Classification software struggles with target prioritization. Every drone is tagged as a potential threat. Operators are facing information overload. This appears to be a major assault. They react according to training. S-400 systems engage aerial targets. Each interceptor costs approximately $2 million, engaging drones worth $50. Pantsires are firing continuously. Sky filled with defensive fire. Multiple interceptions are occurring, but analysis suggests limited strategic effect. Meanwhile, 4 Neptunes maintain sea-level flight, flying approximately 10 meters above the waves, below the typical radar detection threshold, extremely challenging for ground-based systems to track. Following a pre-programmed route, GPS and inertial navigation systems operate independently. Physics creates tactical advantage. Earth's curvature generates a natural blind spot. The detection range is significantly reduced at sea level. Neptunes are approaching at high subsonic speed. Limited warning time from detection to impact. Russian defenses apparently focused upward. Available evidence suggests operators are engaging high-altitude threats. Defensive systems are committed to decoy engagement. Maritime approaches are potentially less monitored. Misdirection tactics appear effective. Neptunes cross the coastline. First Neptune reportedly acquires S-400 position. Thermal sensors lock onto radar signatures. Large antennas generating heat signatures. Multiple launchers positioned together. Concentrated target opportunity identified. Missile executes terminal maneuver. Near vertical descent profile. 150 kilograms of explosive delivered. Direct impact on the radar complex reported. Primary explosion apparently triggering secondary detonations. Chain reaction develops. 4 launchers reportedly affected simultaneously. Radar arrays damaged or destroyed, command vehicle impacted, battery effectiveness severely degraded. The multi-billion ruble system was substantially damaged. Second Neptune targets the backup battery. Similar attack profile executed, comparable damage reported, 2 S-400 batteries significantly degraded, air defense coverage substantially reduced, port defenses compromised. Third Neptune targets the oil terminal. Sheskari's pumping station targeted. Critical infrastructure for Shadow Fleet operations. Missile impacts were reported near the main manifold. Pumping capability disrupted. Pipeline damage reported. Fire is spreading through sections. Fourth Neptune strikes the tank farm. Target selection based on thermal signature. Vertical attack profile executed. Significant explosion reported. Multiple storage tanks were affected. Fire is visible from a considerable distance. Shadow tankers operationally constrained. Loading operations are disrupted. Departure complicated by damage. Vessels are vulnerable to potential follow-up strikes. Fleet operations were significantly impacted. Turkish sailors document the events. Very beautiful, heard ironically in footage. Observers are recording extensive damage. 4 missiles. Brief engagement. Substantial infrastructure impact. Defensive systems degraded. Port operations are disrupted. Satellite imagery reveals extensive damage. Multiple S-400 components destroyed or damaged. Radar systems are non-operational. Pumping infrastructure was severely impacted. Tank farm fires continue. Damage assessment ongoing. Shadow Fleet operations severely disrupted. 17 tankers are reportedly unable to load. Departure schedules are disrupted. Each day potentially costs millions in lost revenue. Sanctions effectiveness potentially enhanced. Emergency measures implemented in Novorossiysk. Local authorities acknowledge a serious situation. Port operations are temporarily suspended. Civilian traffic redirected. Military assessing defensive gaps. Significant operational disruption confirmed. Economic impact appears immediate. Monthly export capacity potentially reduced by billions. Insurance considerations affecting operations. Shadow Fleet vulnerability demonstrated. International market participants are reassessing risk. Official Russian response appears limited.
Drone burada.
Claims of numerous drones intercepted. Limited acknowledgement of Neptune strikes. Damage extent not fully addressed. Information management challenges evident. International implications are developing. Energy markets are showing volatility. Sanctions enforcement potentially strengthened. Shadow Fleet operations under scrutiny. Regional ports reviewing security measures. Cost differential analysis is striking. Ukraine. 4 missiles, estimated few $1 million. Russia. Defensive systems damaged. Port operations disrupted. Revenue streams affected. Shadow Fleet vulnerability demonstrated. S-400 limitations dramatically exposed. Theoretical maximum range less relevant against sea-skimming threats. Horizon limitations affect all radar systems. Geographic constraints create exploitable gaps. Advanced systems face fundamental physics challenges. Shadow Fleet faces similar vulnerabilities globally. Many Russian ports utilize comparable defensive architectures. Similar geographic constraints likely exist. Tactical approach potentially replicable. Ukraine demonstrated the operational concept effectively. Economic targeting gains strategic prominence. Revenue-generating infrastructure is increasingly targeted. Financial impact potentially exceeding military damage. Economic warfare is becoming a central element. Resource denial affects sustainability. Decoy tactics demonstrate cost-effectiveness. Inexpensive systems forcing expensive responses. Defensive attention has operational limits. Sensor overwhelming proves a viable tactic. Asymmetric approaches multiply effectiveness. Maritime security faces fundamental challenges. Complete port protection extremely difficult. Multiple attack vectors available. Sustained vigilance is resource intensive. Geographic factors favor certain attack profiles. Insurance markets responding to demonstrated risks. Premium adjustments following successful attacks. The Shadow Fleet is facing coverage challenges. Legitimate shipping reassessing exposure. Risk pricing affecting operations. Technology proliferation democratizing capabilities. Anti-ship missile technology is spreading. Multiple nations are developing similar systems. Port vulnerability is becoming a widespread concern. Maritime security paradigm evolving. Russia's economic model under pressure. Oil exports crucial for war financing. Shadow Fleet essential for sanction circumvention. Both elements are now demonstrably vulnerable. Economic sustainability is increasingly challenged. Strategic messaging resonates globally. 5 strategic lessons from the Novorossiysk operation. Lesson 1. Physics imposes inherent limitations. Earth's curvature affects all radar systems. Sea-skimming profiles exploit natural blind spots. Geographic realities shape tactical possibilities. Lesson 2. Economic targets offer strategic value. Revenue disruption affects war sustainability. Oil infrastructure is particularly vulnerable. Financial warfare complements military operations. Lesson 3. Deception enhances limited resources. Cheap systems enable expensive strikes. Misdirection remains an effective tactic. Defensive resources have finite capacity. Lesson 4. Static defenses face inherent disadvantages. Fixed positions create predictable targets. Multiple attack approaches are available. Dynamic threats challenge static systems. Lesson 5. Transparency undermines shadow operations. Covert fleets require operational security. Exposure increases targeting opportunities. Visibility affects commercial viability. 4 missiles created a strategic effect. Extended planning phase. Brief execution window. Substantial infrastructure impact. Long-term implications are developing. Russian assumptions proved costly. Distance provided limited protection. S-400 systems showed vulnerabilities. Port security demonstrated gaps. Ukraine demonstrated adaptive innovation. Creative approaches overcome traditional advantages. Precision achieves disproportionate effects. Tactical innovation drives strategic success. Economic warfare gains prominence. Financial sustainability affects military capacity. Revenue streams become legitimate targets. When limited missiles create extensive damage and expose critical vulnerabilities, traditional defensive concepts require fundamental reassessment. Welcome to an era where geographic distance no longer guarantees protection and shadow operations face increasing exposure.